Hello, and welcome to our sixth session of our Intern Toolkit sessions. Today, we are going to focus on building relationships. Thank you so much for joining us during these sessions, and our hope truly is that you are finding these sessions helpful and that you are taking away tools and mindsets and filters that help you engage with others at a new level, and it is helping you make the most of your internship. As we have spoken about for the last five sessions, this tool of what does it look like on the other side of me, today we're going to take it and concentrate on what does it look like on the other side of you as you build relationships. And again, I want to ask you to ask yourself, am I intentional in building new relationships and fostering the ones that I have, or am I accidental with that? No one really can answer that question except for you and a trusted mentor or guide that you lean into. So ask that question of yourself and ask others around you what it looks like on the other side of you as you build relationships. I want to share two tools with you today to help in this process of building relationships. The first is the communication code. This tool is valuable in helping us to self-assess how we manage our conversations and when we're discussing things or just sharing co common conversations with people. It can be professional or personal. So when we talk about speaking with someone or having a conversation, there's two sides of that conversation. One, the person who's transmitting the information, sharing, the person who's receiving it, who's listening. And so both have the opportunity, and I would say even the responsibility, to make sure we set the right expectation for that conversation. We can use these five codes to do that. We can, when we're involved in a conversation, typically one of these five areas is where we're trying to hit. We're either asking for critique or we're giving it. We're asking to collaborate or collaborating with someone. We are asking for clarifying information or providing it. We're giving care or we're sharing care or we're celebrating. The important part is making sure that we're both on the same page. Conflict, frustration arises when we go into a conversation with different expectations. One person may come into a conversation wanting just to receive some care. And when they're sharing, they want the person on the receiving end to just listen and provide care. However, the person that's receiving may see it as an opportunity. Oh, they need me to help fix this. So they jump into critique mode. So you can imagine the frustration and conflict that arises when one person comes into the conversation wanting to receive care and the other person is wanting to give critique. Believe me, this plays into all of our conversations. I could give multiple examples, personally and professionally, how when I've gone into a conversation and the other person and I have not had the same expectation, the conversation has not been as productive as it needs to be. So you can think of your own words. Under each code, there is an example of what you might say to set the expectation. For critique, I would say, hey, can you shoot some holes in this? Or do you want me to shoot some holes in this? Depending on if I'm transmitting the information or receiving it. For collaborate, I would say, hey, can you help me with this? Or I would ask, would you like for me to help you with this? Again, I'm setting the expectation. I'm not using the exact words here on the tool, but I'm using the mindset. I'm using the filter. Clarify is pretty easy. Hey, let me ask, am I hearing this correctly? Am I saying this correctly? Is that what you heard me say? There's ways to clarify and make sure that we remain on the same page during a conversation. And then if I need somebody to just listen, I don't want anyone to fix it. I don't want to collaborate. I just need someone to listen. I'll say, hey, can you just listen? And then on the receiving end, then I may say, hey, do you just need me to sit and listen right now? And then the celebrate's pretty easy. Hey, I'm excited about this. I would love to share it with you. That sets the expectation that I'm wanting to share information. I'm not asking to collaborate. I don't want to try to fix things. I just want to celebrate for a few minutes. So I hope as you think through this tool, you will figure out the words that fit for you, that will help you set the expectation for conversations so that you can limit the confusion, confrontation, the frustration, arguments that often arise when we go into a conversation and we're not all on the same page in regards to what the expectation is for that conversation. A great tool. I could spend a whole half day on it. There's even a book, The Communication Code, written by Steve Cockrum and Jeremy Kubicek. If you're interested, look that up. But hopefully I've given you enough information to start your wheels turning on this tool. The second tool I'm going to share with you today is very quick. It's this presence triangle. Jessica spoke in one of our previous sessions about what it looks like to show up at meetings. And I think this is a great tool, a great filter, a great self-reflection avenue for you to think through, okay, how am I showing up when I'm with people one-on-one? How am I showing up with people in meetings? Think about your posture. Think about your eye contact and think about what your facial expression is saying. Again, a self-reflection tool to help you think through, all right, how am I doing? It's a way to hold yourself accountable to what it looks like on the other side of you. Again, I hope that you will find this tool helpful. It truly will be a question you start asking yourself. What does my presence triangle look like? What do I look like on the other side of me? So, Jessica, let's jump into building relationships and what that looks like in an internship in an early career stage of your life.
Yes, so building relationships is the foundation of any sort of communication you're going to have. And the posture triangle also shares where your head's at when it comes to the relationships of those people in the meeting. So it really is the foundation. And this is how you can be successful in your internship and in your early careers, as well as all the way through in your career. So the first thing I would say is learn names. Everyone feels more valued when they use names. So learn the names of your team members, learn the name of your direct report, but also learn the name of those clients that you may not talk to on a regular basis, but remember their names. And also make sure that you understand what roles that they play. A trick that I have is just writing names down and like important facts about them in my contact. So when I get a new contact with a client, and we introduce ourselves, we share a little bit about ourselves, whatever they share, whether they have kids, whether they have a favorite restaurant or they coach or they have a job or whatever additional job, whatever it might be, I just write it all down so that I can reference that later. And that also helps when it comes to networking because you want to make sure that you are making those connections. And it's really easy to be like, oh, you coach your little league, your son's little league. Well, I also volunteer and help coach. So there's ways to network and connect even outside of the roles of your internship or your job. And also just the way you get to know people is by talking with them. So make sure that when you have the opportunity to go to lunch, you do take advantage of that and go to lunch. Enjoy time with people and just be able to communicate your thoughts, what's going on, how are you doing, as well as listening as they communicate with you as well. And don't be afraid to introduce yourself. It always is helpful to remind them of your name. And so you don't want to assume that everyone knows you. So even if you reintroduce yourself, it's so helpful for the people that are working with you or your clients. And that's just how you continue to build those connections, build those relationships. And a way that I have found that I communicate really well with the relationships that I've built is I am able to express my gratitude. I love to write thank you notes. I also love to give little gifts to people just to say, hey, thank you so much for your mentorship. Thank you so much for working with me on this. It could be a super simple note or it could be very meaningful. Either way, it's gonna impact that person that you give those thank you notes to. So just remember, always go back to the people that have stepped out and helped you, whether that's just on a random Tuesday or if it's for an entire project. Just remember to always say thank you. And a way to help build those relationships is by avoiding the gossip. It's very easy to fall into the trap of gossiping and being negative in the workplace. That's something that I've struggled with. I've been on teams where it's all gossip all the time, and then I've been on teams where we all have recognized that gossip is a trap and that we avoid it. So just be very intentional with who you choose to be around, because who you choose to be around shows everyone else who you are. So if you are in a team of gossip, make sure you find other people that you can be associated with and you can learn from, rather than being stuck with those group of gossips. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind as you walk through and build those relationships. Make sure they're positive relationships and not negative relationships.
Great. Thank you so much. And you've heard me say it before, but when you are intentional about building relationships, then you make sure you are present. That doesn't mean that you're sitting and holding a phone. So when you go out to lunch, like Jessica said, be intentional with that time. Put the phone down. Don't sit at lunch and be staring at your phone while you're supposed to be engaging and building relationships with those around you. So again, thank you so much. We will have session 7. It will be a live in session that we'll have at the end of June. So we look forward to hearing from you. And I hope that you will also continue to use the tools and strategies that I have offered in regards to your journal and documenting your experience. I would love to hear from some of you during that 7th session about the things that you've learned, the things you've unlearned, how your self-awareness has increased, and how your relational intelligence has increased. Thank you again for taking the time to watch these videos. We do hope that they've been helpful for you. Have a great day.